Good morning, good morning, good morning. Who's all in the house? Okay. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Could you be my neighbor? Oh, how are you doing, Anna? So, first thing in the morning, I'm in front of my sink, and first thing I do is I take this out of my mouth, because I have a mouthpiece that was made specifically for my bite. So number one, I'm not grinding my teeth at night, and number two, it helps to align the molars in the back of my teeth. This costs over $2,000, by the way. This was a crazy process. It's amazing, speaking of dental, how much everything costs. Now, the ideal thing is to soak it in a solution that's going to kill off any bacteria. And my dentist had this special packet of powder that I would put in with water. But you can use baking soda and vinegar to clean it as well. It'll also take off any sediment, any buildup. So the other thing I do is I pull out my toothbrush. It's a soft toothbrush. And I pull out the alum. And of course, a very important thing is the spoon for tongue scraping. So, tongue scraping after the alum. And then before anything, the most important thing you gotta do is get your hair out of your face. And I got a lot of it. So, who all out there has some long hair and has to put it up to get it out of the way? Always start from the ends so you're not tearing it out and brushing snarls and tangles, especially when it's this long, right? I always start from the end and work my way back. And I've always flipped my hair since I was a little girl. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like it gets it on the top of my head easier. Otherwise, my arms aren't long enough to get behind my back. I have found the longer it's gotten, it's a lot more to take care of and manage, especially when it comes to washing it, right? You don't want hair in your toothbrush when you're brushing your teeth. So you gotta put your hair up. All right. And I do this thing where I create basically a donut on the top of my head. So yeah, it wraps around a few times too, can you tell? I have hair clippies galore. So I put it through the loop in the back, and then it's on top of my head. Voila! And then, because this is how much hair I've been losing, this is an old brush. I've got a better one that I keep in my purse when I go places. You keep the scraggly one at home. But look at all this hair. And my hair is not as bad as it can be. I find that it's got so much lint. Look at this. That's a lot of hair. And I got this hair collection in my trash bin just because I'm curious how much hair I've been losing. And boy, does it build up. So, and I try not to let the hair go down the sink because then we end up clogs and we have to use Drano or something. So, back to toothbrushing. What do y'all do for your morning dental routines? I'm curious. Share in the comments. Only need a little dab of Duya. Literally barely anything on the tip. And if you don't taste it, you can actually put more. What this does is it activates the salivary gland, see what I mean? Which activates your metabolism and clean, your saliva is supposed to kill bacteria, by the way. Just saying. That's assuming you are not acidic either. So you brush it along your gum line. It's mostly meant to massage, right? Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Michelle. It's meant to massage. Now, I typically will tilt my head down into the sink so it's not spraying all over the place, like the mirror and stuff. Brush the tongue. You brush the tongue, and then you go back at the monkey glands and you scrape back and forth along the back of the throat to bring up the phlegm. You want to use your toothbrush to brush, not gag yourself, but to brush the back of your throat back across, because what it's going to do is it's going to bring up the phlegm. You should have like 3 phlegm globules. If you do dairy or anything of that nature, and you do like a high sugar content, the whites will do it. When you wake up in the morning, the ideal is you want to make your eyes water, because it's going to clear out the tear ducts. And so if you have sleepy eye, it cleans that out. And it'll clear the sinuses because it'll bring stuff up too. So all of this stuff is really good to get that out. Because otherwise, where's it going to go? Down your throat, through your digestion? You don't want any of that. That's all bacteria you want to get out. So, I only got 2 so far, but you want to make sure that you get as much as you can. And it'll get in your toothbrush, which is why I'll tap my toothbrush on the sink, because you don't want anything caught up in your bristles, because that'll create more bacteria. And then I'll just blow my nose, right, to get the, whatever is being brought up. Can you see how my eyes are watering? So yeah, watering your, making your eyes water is really good, like I said, because what's going to happen is any goopiness, sleepy in your eye. I know sometimes I'll wake up in the morning with sleepy eye. I don't want to get out of bed. And then all I have to do is do this, and it makes a huge difference. And then the next thing is you want to scrape your tongue. I use a toothbrush. I use a spoon. I just used my toothbrush. I use this spoon, and it's just enough of, it scrapes just enough. It doesn't it's not sharp, it's just right. This was in my grandmother's old silverware. And you go to the back of your throat, and it'll bring up whatever you didn't get with the toothbrush. I mean, there's not really much for me last night. I didn't eat that much. But I do notice when certain foods that I have the night before create phlegm or create any type of extra sleepy and all that. Do any of you brush your teeth and then scrape your tongue like this? I want to know in the comments. So this is something I learned with Kundalini Yoga, the using the alum, or potash I think is the other name. There's so many amazing things that I learned just through my teacher training, right? For example, let's see. There's, the breath, right? And that's why I'm having my breath awareness workshop. It really is about honing in and fine-tuning this vessel, this temple that we house our soul in. We came to have experiences, not to cling to, this, everything has to be a certain way. No, our souls decided. So we want to have really fine-tuned bodies so we can engage all of the senses that we were given. Think about that. We have 5 senses. We have 5 senses, and then we have our spidey sense. But most of us are having trouble with one of the 5 senses, so we never tap in fully to our spidey sense, our intuition. But the breath, and that's why I'm doing this workshop, the breath is so important. If you're not breathing fully into your life, then you're not living fully and richly. And that's the key, because you can enliven all of your senses just through the power of the breath, the magic of breathing, right? It's a simple act, but yet we take it for granted. It's the prana, the life force. Like, truly, what is it that you feel you're missing in your life? And we have a full moon, lunar eclipse today. The longest one. It's almost 2 hours long in our lifetime, I believe. And so consider, when you are taking a breath, are you breathing into the breath an expansion of your life, or are you just getting by with a little shallow here, a little shallow there, or cutting it off when you're in times of fear and anxiety and frustration? Because sometimes I notice in my past, that was one of my lessons, was to recognize, am I holding my breath? What's going on? And then what's going on in this moment that I would hold my breath or cut it off? Breath is so vitally important. It's the number one thing we can't live without. And so if you are in the Clearwater area, I highly encourage you to come Sunday, August 5th, 1:30 to 3:30, and we're just going to learn to breathe all over again. We're going to tap into the fullness of our thought, our bodies, and our beings. And we're going to expand it so that we can enliven those 5 senses and be more richly engaged in everyday living. And it takes time, devotion, to be mindful throughout the days, obviously. Just simple mindfulness of the mind and where your thoughts are. The breath will take you there. But we don't normally harness the power of the breath. We usually are just letting our bodies do it. So if we can be more attuned and aware and aligned with what's going on within us, then we can fully embrace our lives and take more conscious control, mindfulness in the moment, and we can be the gift. We can be present for ourselves and others. So, why I'm saying that, the last little bit that I do in the bathroom is I drink some water, because this is a good 29, 30 ounces, at least, maybe 32 ounces. What I'll do is I'll drink some of that down, and I splash this, because it's reverse osmosis and not chlorinated water, on my face to freshen my skin. And then, just like a mini shower, as silly as it sounds, I find that if I splash a little bit of water on my back and my belly and just different areas while I'm in the bathroom, unless I take a cold shower, which is very good for you, by the way. It's one of the many things that helps with body pain. It gets that blood to the surface, and then it oxygenates the blood, right? So that's the whole key of a cold shower, is that the cold shower makes the blood come to the surface to warm you, and it absorbs the oxygen more deeply into your body through that process. And that in itself increases your body's healing capacity. Just like breathing, and just like my workshop, The more oxygen we get within ourselves, the more your body is optimal, immune boosted, and unstoppable. So come join me August 5th, 1:30 to 3:30. It's a Sunday. I know you got it in you. Come and breathe, come and breathe, come and breathe with me. The miracle of your breath. Let's harness that. I love you. Have an amazing day. I know I am. And when that full moon lunar eclipse strikes, breathe into it, because this too shall pass. And whatever emotions or whatever conjures up and comes to surface for you is meant for healing, not reacting, but sitting with it and asking, what is this trying to tell me about myself, and how can I harness that along with breathing into it fully? Let's make this a fabulous Friday and make it physical. I love you. Keep it raw, stay rad.